morning. I am just outside of Moab, Utah, and today I'm going to head into Canyonlands National Park. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Joey. I'm currently living out of this van for the next month in southern Utah, exploring parks like Zion, Capitol Reef, Arches, and Canyonlands. I have a podcast where I sit down with park rangers, so that's why I'm here. But for now, I'm going to make some coffee and then head up to Island in the Sky District at Canyonlands. So while I grind these beans up, I guess I should tell you the basis of this video. I'm not gonna lie, over the last few days I made like 3 vlogs and I really haven't enjoyed any of them. So I'm hoping this one's gonna be better so I can actually publish it. But in this video, I'm just gonna take you with me to Canyonlands, then come back into town, hopefully grab a shower, and then I just wanna talk candidly about van life so far. I've been living out of this van for about a week. I've done some side missions, side quests prior to this trip, but this is my biggest trip that I've done in this van. It's about a month long, then I'm gonna go home and rest for a week and then head back out for 2 more weeks. But I've learned a ton just in my very first week of van life, and so I figured I'd speak candidly with you about it. Side note, while we let this sit here, this coffee reminded me of yesterday. I was sitting in a coffee shop, the Moab Coffee Roasting Company. Apparently they have the fastest Wi-Fi in the country. A source told me that, and I had uploaded a video, and they seemed to be correct because it was very quick. Anyways, as I was sitting there, a person pulled up a chair next to me. It ended up being one of my YouTube inspirations, one of the people I look up to in the space. It was quite a shocking moment for me, but it made me realize how much I love Moab, because everyone here is like so into the outdoors. I feel like everyone here lives out of a camper van when you drive through downtown Moab, but it was so cool to see this person sit next to me and chat with me for an hour. They were so nice. They say don't meet your heroes, but in this case, I was glad I did because he's awesome. And one of the cool things about van life, I guess, is you never really know who you're going to run into when you're in these cool recreational outdoorsy areas like Moab. I can't imagine what my face looks like as I'm pressing this. I probably have some interesting screenshots coming my way from friends. Cheers. All right, what a day exploring Canyonlands. It's gorgeous. Whatever your expectations are of this park, it's going to surpass it. It is so big, so diverse, so many views, so overwhelming in the best way. This park is pretty rad. And one of the podcasts that I did with park ranger Karen Hanker, she said, whenever you visit Arches and whenever you visit Canyonlands, you're really just trip planning for your next trip back to either of the parks, which I relate very much to right now. I saw a lot, but there's so much more I want to see and longer hikes I want to do that unfortunately I just can't do today. So I can't wait to come back and do the other hikes and other overlooks that I didn't get a chance to see today. Anywho, I am going to head into the town of Moab and grab a shower because I don't know if I want to say the amount of days that I've gone without one, but it's been too long. So I am going to go find a shower, and there's a really good Greek Mediterranean food truck in town that I tried right when I got here, and it was so good. I've been craving it since. So I think I'm gonna do that. But for now, let's get on the road towards Moab. I feel like $1 million right now. All right, package is secured. Now we are gonna go find home for the night. Okay, so van life. I have a lot of thoughts on my experience so far, and I've written a lot of my thoughts down on this computer. So I'm going to reference some bullet points that I have on here. But first, I just want to say I don't want to talk about the pros and cons of living in this van, just because everyone has their own dreams and ideas of a type of van that they want to live out of, whether that's a camper van or a school bus or anything else. People have their own dreams of how they want to live van life, and that's awesome. So I don't necessarily want to talk about this van, but I do want to talk about my experience overall living the van life. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I've gone on different missions and side quests that usually have only entailed a weekend or a day trip. So being in the van full time for nearly a month is new to me, and I'm about a week in at this point, and I already have a lot of thoughts. So the first bullet I have on here is logistics. All the things that are simple, mindless tasks when you're living in a house or in an apartment are no longer simple, nor are they mindless. Everything has to be logistically planned out, whether that's cooking, whether that's getting water, going to the restroom. All of it takes planning and intentionality. You have to plan your day and know kind of what you're getting into. I think when I first got into van life, I was like, oh, it's the perfect type of living situation to just freeball things and do whatever you want. And I've quickly learned on the road that your day can get away from you really quickly if you just freeball everything and you don't kind of meticulously plan things out. Now, I'm not saying that there's not room for just freeballing your day. There certainly is. But when you're trying to achieve certain things throughout your day, those simple mindless tasks start to add up and really start to eat away your day if you don't plan everything appropriately. Now, that's a pro and a con for me, because when I am living in my apartment, I feel like I go about my day without thinking much or without much planning or thoughtfulness. So living in the van has made me a lot more thoughtful and a lot more intentional about the things that I want to do and the things that I want to accomplish, even things from how much water I use to how much energy and how much trash I'm throwing out. So I think, again, it's a pro and a con. It's a con because you can really lose your day if you're not smart about how you go about the simple tasks. But it's a pro because I feel like I'm more thoughtful in how I approach my day and the thought process that I put into achieving what I consider a successful or a good day. Bullet point 2 that I have here, same thing under logistics and kind of falls under the same category of everything I just talked about, but it's sleeping logistics. I think because I'm new to this, especially for a long period of time, finding a new place to stay every night is a bit stressful. Finding BLM land that you feel safe at and secure at can be a daunting task, I think, at times, especially right now during daylight savings, when if you're not parked by 5 o'clock, you're kind of searching and driving through land that you've never been on or never seen before at night. And I think that bugs me a bit. So maybe this is not as bad when it's not daylight savings, but because we just lost an hour of our day and the sun is gone pretty much at 5 o'clock, it's a bit stressful trying to wrap up your day than finding a piece of land to stay and sleep on that you feel safe at. Third one I have is van mechanic worries. I am a worrywart when it comes to my vehicle's mechanics and how it's driving. I feel like I feel every little bump or every little twitch of the engine, which is just my crazy brain, I guess. But that always worries me just because this is my home on the road. So if there is a breakdown, I am concerned of, what the next steps are after that. But I think that's something every van lifer goes through, but it's certainly in my head throughout the day when I'm driving. When I'm in the parks and I feel something odd with my vehicle, I'm just kind of praying that I don't have to lose my vehicle for a period of time. And if I do, what does that look like? So I think that'll always be a worry of mine. Number 4 is community and isolation. This one's interesting because I'm in Moab, and Moab is such a rad place to recreate. It feels like everyone's living in a camper van. It feels like everyone is in an off-road vehicle. Everyone enjoys the outdoors. Everyone's having fun. It's awesome. Which to me, I'm like, wow, it's going to be so easy to make friends that are doing the same thing I'm doing. And I haven't really experienced that, which I got to give it time. It's only been a week plus, and I understand part of it's on me to open myself out and go meet friends and join people that are in the van life community. Maybe I was naive and I thought that it would come a little bit more naturally and just happen by being in a van and traveling in places where other van lifers are, and that just hasn't happened. And so that's been a little disheartening for me, just because a part of this is wanting to join the community and wanting to meet other van lifers and be able to live vicariously through friends that I meet on the road and the adventures that they're taking. And so part of that is you feel isolation on the road when you're not meeting people and you're far from your friends, you're far from your family. It can be hard to keep a clear mind on your purpose and why exactly you're out on the road. Now, the next one might only pertain to a subcategory of van lifers, and that's creativity. For me, I'm trying to create content on the road, whether it's vlogs. It's primarily the podcast with Rangers, but now that I've gotten into vlogs, that's another part of it. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned this is the fourth vlog that I've made over the last few days, and I did not like the first few that I made, so I was hoping that this one would be a better attempt. I think that's stressful. Part of the reason why I lose my days is because I'm trying to like plan out these videos and create good content that people will enjoy, because ultimately I'm just trying to create content that I enjoy and hopefully other people enjoy the same thing. And so that can be stressful. Is sometimes I'm on the road and I want to go do cool stuff, but then I'm like, how do I film this? But then when I'm thinking that way, I don't actually enjoy what I'm doing, whether that's a hike or being in nature. The whole point of being in nature is to be immersed in it and to understand your surroundings and listen to the birds and listen to the wind and just bask in the sun. And sometimes it's hard to do that when you're constantly thinking about what the best shot is or what the best piece of content is. And I think that's been another angle in the early stages of van life that I'm hoping I can figure out, which will allow me to enjoy being in nature 24/7, which is the sole reason why I wanted to get this van in the first place. Now, those are a lot of my concerns with van life, but the truth is I've loved it a lot. It's been everything that I have thought of it being and more, in all the positive ways. There's just been some challenges or learning curves in the way, which, as I mentioned, I think in the long run will be great. I feel like every day I enjoy it more and more just because I get more used to the hurdles that I may have faced the day prior. And I hope that when I go home to rest for a period of time, that I take the principles that I learned from living in a van and a more minimized lifestyle and take it back to my apartment and allow me to be a better steward, whether I'm in nature or back in my urban environment. So I've learned a lot, and that's probably my favorite thing about being in the van. And then, of course, being in nature and waking up, and tomorrow morning I'll open up my sliding door and make coffee and be able to enjoy the mountains around me and my cup of coffee and then get on the road. That's what I've dreamt about for years. So in a lot of ways, it's exactly how I imagine van life. And then in a lot of ways, there's stuff that I just didn't expect that I am quickly learning on the fly, and that is also great. And finally, my last thought is just that there are pockets throughout each day where I just have the opportunity to realize that I'm living my dream because of this van and because of people like you who are watching, which is building a community of people who want to learn about these amazing places that we have the opportunity to explore through the eyes and the knowledge of park rangers all across the country. The fact that I'm in this van recording podcasts with park rangers is just, it's an absolute dream come true. I don't really know how else to word it than that. And so that by itself makes all of this worth it. Even the small challenges throughout the day, they don't come even close to the joy that being in this van and being outside and meeting with park rangers brings me. And it brings me even more joy than that to know that people are enjoying the content and learning from the content, so that when they go out to these parks that we're learning about, they have more context behind what they're seeing, and hopefully that added context and that added story makes your experiences more memorable. So out of all the thoughts that I have, that is a thought that triumphs all of them. It's just my absolute joy for getting to work with rangers and pursue my dream of building safe travels and a community that absolutely is in love with the outdoors and is in love with learning about the outdoors. And so with that final thought, I'm going to wrap up this video. As always, thank you so much for your support. I am extremely grateful. And if you liked this video, it would mean a whole lot to me if you liked, commented, and if you haven't already, subscribed. I'll talk to you soon.